Today, I want to talk about flow and a certain aspect of flow. And um, in this case, like we can talk about flow states, and certainly there are different things you can do to anchor being in the flow. Um, you know, recalling times when you were in a particular flow. But I want to talk about it, a certain aspect structurally about it, and this is really right out of the book Flow. By Mahali. I think it's Chihanks Mahali is the guy's last name. And he was a researcher who studied people who would get into flow states and what made that happen, what could block it, etc. And one of the variables that he came up with was that when people were able to engage in flow for a more sustained amount of time, it was that they had found like their perfect edge. And by that, it's like just the right amount of challenge to keep them engaged and keep them making attempts. So, you can think of it this way. On the one hand, if you try to take on too much of a challenge all at once, people will get frustrated or will get confused or will get tired, depending upon the task, and they're likely to give up. And if there's no challenge, if it's too easy, people tend to get bored very easily and will want to, just do something else. So the key is to find like what is your optimal edge, and really just play and dance right near that edge. At times make it, pulling back, making it a little bit easier, and at times like trying a bigger challenge. And I think beginning to sensitize yourself to what is that moment, what is that level, is a really great skill to have. One thing I'll notice is sometimes I'll be engaging in something, and without even really noticing it, I all of a sudden take on too much, and I'll just go into overwhelm and sort of stop. So in that moment, that's when I want to stop and go, okay, what was I attempting? And can I dial it back just a little bit so that I can start to really practice and make more distinctions there and develop some skill? Now, I really love video games and certain video games. And I think the reason is, they're designed to engage this level of flow. I mean, a good game is designed so that you're always just getting the next challenge. And I think it's because, game designers know that if there's, if things are moving along at a certain trajectory and then all of a sudden it jumps, you're going to lose a lot of players in that moment, because it gets too challenging. And again, if there isn't enough challenge, people get bored and they'll discard that and go on to something else. So I like to keep that in mind, and I'm sort of, when I find myself engaged, that's a moment where I'm sort of checking myself out and taking an inventory of how I feel, so that I know I have just the right level of engagement, that I want to try it like one more time. Like, what is that thing? In another talk, I spoke about this math program that I was in as a little kid that was called WIMP. And how something about how the levels were set up perfectly fit my level of challenge. And so I finished the curriculum very, very quickly. And it was a cycle that was kicked off in me, which was, I always wanted to find out, okay, what's the new unit? Like, what's the new topic? So in the beginning, curiosity would get me there. And then I'd start doing problems and feel like, okay, I'm almost getting this. And for me, that's a good indicator that I'm at the right level of challenge. Like if I feel like I'm right on the edge, like I'm starting to get some success, or enough success that I want to try it again and again. And I would keep going. And then finally I would do the little test. And if I would pass, I would feel great, and just feel like, okay, I accomplished that. and then the curiosity would kick off again, and I'd go, well, I wonder what's around that corner. I wonder what's in the next challenge. So, you know, we could use working out as an example. And I think the place that many people run into a problem is they start to develop some strength, you know, maybe doing a certain number of sets a day or a certain level of weight, and then they ratchet it up. But if they ratchet it up too quickly, it sort of kills the whole thing, because in relation to that task, they don't feel like they're up to the challenge. So the goal is to find something where you feel like, oh, I'm almost there. I can just about get this. And that keeps you coming back every day to see what's going to happen, basically, like watching a good program. This can be, it's really powerful. I think it takes more practice when it comes to learning an ability, like a creative ability, and defining what a good level of challenge is for yourself, and how you would know if you're doing well or if you're making progress. It can also be tricky if you hit a plateau, because plateaus are part of any experience. So, you know, for me, when I sense that I'm hitting a plateau, I change my requirement to just showing up every day, because I know I'll break through eventually. But at that point, my criteria for success is sort of showing up for the activity. And then in time, I'm looking for little green sprouts of something new, like a new level that I can start to get to. So to sum up, you know, when you're engaging in an activity, you really want to find that sweet spot between, you know, challenging and not challenging enough, and just keep raising the bar very, very, very slowly so that you stay engaged, you stay excited, you have a sense of accomplishment, and you're improving over time. So I hope you enjoy that.